Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations Effects Tutorials, Demos, and Review. So today we'll actually be doing a direct comparison between the JHS Colorbox V2 along with the Genzler Magellan Preamp versus the ToneX one. Now ToneX, IK Multimedia just updated their modeling software. So, now there's 3 different ToneX apps for different things. So you'll have the regular ToneX app, which is you can just do your presets and things like that in, and as well as the plugin. And then you also have the actual ToneX modeler. And then you have the ToneX editor. So all these little things add up to one amazing value for a very small pedal. It takes up very little real estate on your pedal board. As you can see here, it's very small. Let me switch to pedal board view here. As you can see, it's teeny. It's a little small thing, doesn't take up, it's not even the size of your hand. So very small, but very powerful, very powerful. So one of the main things I would say that's really going to separate that ToneX from everything else is simply the tone quality of it. Let's hear that. We're going to hear them back to back, but let's hear this ToneX quality real quick. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. And this is literally the exact setting that I have right here, down here on the color box in the Genzler preamp here. So let's hear what that sounds like. So as you can hear, the ToneX was able to pretty much spot on clone it, What we got here? What's going on, Sandra? I appreciate you hanging in there with me, stopping by. I appreciate that. Feel free to comment and ask questions, guys. Let me switch over to this chat here so I can see when you guys are making comments. But feel free to ask questions. So This is my bass by itself. I'm gonna do my bass by itself. Then I'm gonna do the color box and Genzler Magellan. Then I'll do the ToneX for you, all right back to back. Sorry, that was the. Let's do this again because that was actually with the Magellan. This is my bass, flat. Color box and a Magellan. Color box. ToneX one. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is my studio setup for my pedals that doesn't leave the house. This is actually, in case you guys are wondering, no, I do not take all this stuff to a gig. You know, for the most part, this smaller board right here is my main bass gigging pedal board. Then I have these two pedal boards, which are, sorry about that, guys. I have these two pedal boards, which are for my solo setup. You know, might get a few calls in here. You know, today is my birthday, guys. So if you want to hook a brother up for his birthday, I appreciate y'all. Hit that Cash App, Super Chat, likes, all that stuff. But, you know, I just wanted to hop on for a little bit. You know, still got to do your job, you know what I'm saying, just because it's your birthday. But I appreciate all you guys hanging out with me today. Means even a little bit more today, huh? So, yeah, so basically, I have it set up where it's more like 3 separate pedal boards that can be attached together. So, and these pedals down on the floor are like pedals that I use occasionally. You know, I might swap out different things. Like I might swap out the Magellan for the SGT or the AG, depending on what I'm doing. You know, various things like that. Or add like the Rabbit sitar or things if I feel like it, or vocoder. But things I may not necessarily use every single day. But I'm thoroughly impressed with the way that this ToneX allows me to pretty much carry duplicates of things that would be difficult to get to, or in this case, I'm trying to see if I actually really want to bring these analog pedals out the house. Mind you, the ToneX one, mind you, oh, just before I forget, check out the Patreon if you actually want any of these presets on for the ToneX one. Like all these different preamps have separate preset packs on the Patreon, as well as I'll be coming out with some new packs that are combinations like this one. Like this is going to have its own pack. The color box and the Magellan together are going to have a pack. You know what I'm saying? So you'll actually be getting, in that pack, you'll be getting 2 preamps at once on it. Exactly. Pretty much, this is one of the settings. And of course, I like my bass flat. And the thing I love about the ToneX software is I can actually record my bass flat like that, and then just add this tone model later within the actual DAW. I use Logic, personally Logic Pro. So I can then later on add this. Which is an actual spot on copy, you know? Versus my bass flat. So you can hear the tonality of, because one thing, the Magellan is a very transparent preamp in general. This is the Magellan by itself. How transparent that is, it sounds like it's coloring it very little, even though you can see I have a good bit of EQ dialed in. I also have the contour B on about 25% of the way. It still has a my bass by itself. You still hear my bass. That's why I love this Magellan preamp in particular. It's very transparent. Now, but it adds something nice to the weight of the sound. While you still getting that nice piano texture from the stainless steel strings, you know? So when you add that color box into the mix, I'm just using the color box for a bit of saturation. Like not even, and really not even saturation. Yeah, a little saturation, a little more so for the firmness of it. It gives it a nice you know, and just so you can hear my actual bass signal that this is with the compressors involved. They're not these particular 2 compressors do add some color to the sound as well, but the ToneX is not really capable of, you know, capturing that from those particular units, the compression aspect. So I just left those off, but I can always add those back in. So as you can see, having having this Empress at the beginning of the chain, right? And this Atlas compressor at the end of the chain right there, that makes a complete channel strip. Now, this Atlas compressor, I actually have running an 1176 limiter into, and that the 1176 one is doing parallel compression with, meaning it's part of the signal keeps my dry signal. The other part is the 10-to-1 ratio that I'm running on there on that 1176 limiter, and I'm running that into the, I think they have it as the optical peak or optical rack. Pretty much it's a tube compressor on there, which is the LA2A compressor, and I have 1176 running into 11A LA2A compressor, and the LA2A is just coloring it for the tube aspect of it, just the tube saturation, pretty much. No compression. The compression is literally 1-to-1, which means it's no compression. So, taking that into consideration, now that gives you a nice warmer tone at the end of your signal, nice tube, studio compression and tube sound. While at the front of your signal, you got an amazing analog, signal there. So pretty much my signal is analog compressor into analog console preamp, which is 1073 style preamp, into the Magellan, and then into the Atlas. Now the entire pedal board is Empress into Deep Freeze, and then into the Zoom MS-60B plus. No, I skipped one. I'm sorry. Compressor into the Future Impact. Future Impact into the Deep Freeze, and that comes into the Zoom MS-60B plus. 60B plus comes into the Color Box V2, into the Magellan Pre. Then the Atlas is the end of this segment of the pedal board. So this is my main bass setup there. And that gives me a lot of flexibility. I still have all my bass synth stuff here if I want to do any of that stuff. Check out the Future Impact preset pack on Patreon as well. All any of these pedals, the MS-60B Plus is on there. Got preset pack for C4 synth, Enzo X, 11 different preamp packs for the ToneX one. You're going to come out with more for ToneX, and got the MS-70 CDR Plus on there as well. So check all that stuff out when you get your change. So, I got all my bass synth stuff there. Also got a little. See, now that sound, that's the Michael Jackson Thriller. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know what all the other pedals be trying to do, but that's how it sounds right there. this Future Impact does not get talked about enough. It is one of the best ever. Trying to see with some of these are like weird. I don't know what some of you guys are saying with some of the take on me bass synth effects, please. I'm not sure what that means. You're gonna have to be a little more clear with that. Do you use all of these modules regularly? Oh, I'm assuming you mean effects pedals. Yes, all these ones you see lit up here. So all of these. This is my normal bass gig pack here, you know what I'm saying, or mini pedal board here. Then when I have solo gigs, I might end up taking all 3 of these pedal boards here, or I might just take these 2, you know, depending on what it is. So, and these 2 are just equal to this really big one on the floor. On the floor is a Terra Nova 42, the really big one, which is pretty much the same size as this motif right here. So these, it's not as much as you think it is. This is equivalent to carrying a 61 key keyboard to a gig. So, you know, these 2 pedal boards, it looks like a lot. It's really not. This right here is really not that big. It's about the size of my arm. So it's about, this is about 14 by 8. It's about 14 by 8. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, I take a lot of these pedals. I use them on a regular, especially in this context because I do YouTube videos. It kind of allows me to always be exploring different pedal options here, you know. So what else? So along with that, I would say, oh, I got another preset for y'all. So I also did one with the Curve A on for like slap and pop and stuff like that. So we got, see what we got here. Take all this off real quick. ToneX 1. So if I wanted to add just a touch, only real difference I'm hearing between the two sounds is the analog one has a slight more bit of booty to it, a little bit more weight to it, you know. Let's do this real quick. Switch this to So I don't know. You guys let me know if you can hear the difference between these two. These are two really amazing. Well, these three pedals are all amazing within their own right, and you don't have to stack a color box into a Genzler Magellan preamp, but when you have them, you know you can. And fortunately, like I said, if you have a ToneX one and you want that same sound, you know you can get that on the you can get that in the pack soon. This, like I said, these two sounds will be in the color box and Genzler Magellan preamp and pack that's going to be on Patreon. If you want some of these packs individually right now, you can go get them if you have a ToneX one or ToneX pedal, or you have the ToneX software. You can download these from my Patreon right now, the individual packs, and bam, you got them. Also, for the MS-60B Plus, the packs are on there. So stuff like that, you can, you know, all these pedals that you see, the Future Impact, the C4 Synth, I try to make these different packs so you guys can just have immediate access to these sounds and not have to go through a bunch of, you know, spend a whole bunch all the time I did creating all these packs. Because trust and believe, none of these packs were just thrown together. They were all really thought about, you know. So So, you know, and like again, what I was saying before is you can go back into the ToneX software, and if you want to add just that little extra touch of body that you may or may not be hearing. I can hear it because I have on headphones. If you don't have on headphones, you won't. They sound exactly the same. But you can add that bit of sub harmonics in there, that bit of weight back into the sound in the software. I just did the exact tone model that is spit out. I just put it on there. So if I want to add that weight back, I can. Realistically, a lot of times that extra weight gets in the way, in clarity. But I love it live, in a live setting. And this is even one I did with the color. This is one I did with the color box running into the SGT on the ToneX one. So the modeling software does a great job at really getting you some nice tones that you can carry in a very small package there. Mind you, I still have a bunch more. I've got ones that I did. Here's the B15. And that's the color box running into the SGT with the B15 SGT circuit engaged. With the SVT side. If I want to give them some more gain and actually get them to start giving me some overdrive, see, got it. You can get it to break up. All that different stuff. So I will say this software does an amazing job at. This is the color box running into an AG, Aguilar AG. with the bright switch on the AG. So that little ToneX this joint is fire. Like this is another a model I did of the Magellan and the column box together, just a different EQ setting. Again, another of the color box and the Magellan. So I got different presets for even these two together on the ToneX one. That's what makes it really invaluable. Even if you have the analog versions like I do. Just to have these three settings, right? I would have to EQ. Appreciate that, Curtis. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. What's going on, Steven? I don't know why everything that's showing up. Oh, there you go. What's going on? Doing a little bit of everybody in here. Thanks, Roger. Appreciate it. Hess, appreciate that. And feel free to ask questions, guys. For some reason, my chat didn't scroll down. I didn't even know y'all was still commenting. I appreciate that, though. Make sure I hit that like button. And, you know, today is a brother's birthday. If y'all want to hit that Cash App, Super Chat, Cash App's a little better. You know, I definitely appreciate it. If you want to subscribe today, definitely help me out. Um, and if you want any of these presets, if you want to get something for your money, you can go. If you got any of these pedals, any of the Zoom pedals, also got a pack for the Zoom B6, which is another great unit. All these new units coming out, they like in the thousands of dollars. If you want a good unit that don't cost you a lot, that's a multi-effects unit. The Zoom B6 is actually a really great option, and it has this really nice 1073, which is just like the color box emulation on there, and it's very good. It's very good. It actually, if you want that 1073 on the Zoom B6 is very close to how the Aguilar AG preamp sounds. So if you wanted something like that, and you'd have some foot switches to go with it, it's an audio interface. You also get a Noble emulation in the DI section. It doesn't even count towards the 6 effects. That's one of the cool things. With the B6, it allows you up to 6 effects at a time, but it also always has a global EQ, and it has DI out these DI emulations of consoles and the red DI, or Ready or whatever it's called. So that don't sleep on the Zoom B6, and it's twice the sound quality of the multi-stomp. So the multi-stomps are 44.1 kilohertz, that's 88.2 kilohertz, and you can use it as an audio interface at 24 bits and 88.2 kilohertz. And I know that may not mean anything to all you, but it's just a higher quality sound. So all these effects that you may have, if you have a multi-stomp, they're all better on the Zoom B6, higher quality version of each of these effects on the Zoom B6. So definitely worth checking out. The amp models are higher quality, and it's an IR loader with a 2-hour looper built into it. You can SD card. You can also edit it from your phone wirelessly. For $500, you can find them used for like $300. It's a steal. And no, I'm not endorsed by Zoom or any of these other companies. Anytime you see me recommending something, it's because I actually believe in it. And then you can hear it's just 3 different EQ settings with these 2 pedals that I have queued up right here. This is where you can change the different presets you have assigned to each slot on here. So I normally would gig with the ToneX in this mode, and then I just flip through the 3. And you get to this mode by pressing this middle button here that's lit up. You press that and the foot switch at the same time, and it allows you to go and toggle through different modes. ToneX 1 also has a tuner built into it and other effects, so it's a really good pedal. Just in general, for the price, $179, you're really not gonna beat that. And you can run TRS out of here and run this stereo. This actually has a stereo out if you run this with a TRS cable, or with a TRS splitter, which would look something like this. Let me see. So it would look something like this. It'll have 2 ends, a red one, a black one, or something like that. And then it'll have another end. The main difference is going to be this tip is going to have, it's going to be have a ring there. You can't really see it on camera right now because it's dark, but if I put it up here, it's kind of dark. But yeah, so I would recommend, if you want to a stereo setup with the modelers, definitely check out the ToneX one as well. I know there's another one that just came out, the Valtone one, but I can't vouch for that. And I don't know if it actually does modeling like this. This allows you to not just download, if you wanted to download my packs and all my sounds and preamps and stuff, because I got stuff like the Lil Mark 3 on there, the Gens Benz, Shuttle 9, got the Harkey, what's that giant? TX 600 is on there. What else we got on there? It's a lot of packs on there. You got the AG preamp and all these preamps that we've been talking about so far. That's on there. But you can also go on the ToneNet and grab a few. Like I've grabbed the Fender, old school Fender 2 preamp off of there and tried out some of the Galley and Kruger ones on there. I actually have a Galley and Kruger. I didn't create a Galley and Kruger pack, but I did get a hold of a Galley and Kruger, what is it, RB 1001 or something like that. So I made a pack with that. I just haven't released it yet, so stay tuned for that as well. But this thing is amazing. Now, even things like my TC Electronic BH500, the original jank, not this before when they was made in Denmark, That's back when TC Electronic had its own sound. Now it kind of sounds, to me, a little neutral. Doesn't really. This one really adds personality, especially with the tube drive. Use some body on it. It's another one of my favorites that's available on, and all these are available on this one little pedal. It's 20 different presets, but I think I have 11 or 12 different preamps on there. But 20 slots, so some of those are variations. So I might have, I at least have usually one or two of each. So this is the Ampeg BA210 V2 preamp. It just has so much weight to it in general. It's just one of those. If anything, you have to dial the booty back a little bit because it's just. Really get that old school BA sound out of there. All these packs and all these sounds are available on there on the Patreon. So don't worry. Even though you don't have all these amps, you can easily go in there and get them. And the other thing that's cool about the ToneX one, you can go in here and I can turn on the IRs, my custom IRs. So as you can hear, the IRs even make a huge difference in the sound of it, you know? It's not just turning it on and then everything be fine, you know what I'm saying? It definitely takes some time, you know? And not only does it take some time, you don't have to spend it. You can just literally go to the Patreon and download the stuff. So, yeah, when you get a chance, definitely check out my music as well. It's on allbasscreations.bandcamp.com. You'll find all my original music. I actually did an album, All Bass Creations album, where I actually used just my bass and effects, no MIDI. And this is before I had all these synthesizer pedals and stuff. So this is just bass and effects. Literally everything you're hearing is just bass and effects, you know, no MIDI at all. So, and then I have some other singles on there as well with me doing everything, me playing drums, bass, and keys and everything. So then there's a couple singles on there with a couple drummer friends of mine that played on there with me. So check all that stuff out, you know. But yeah, so overall, just to wrap this up, the ToneX one does a great job at modeling these sounds. Like, is there, now you tell me, this JHS is what, 450? The Magellan is what, 300? So you already get 750 right there, right? $179 is how much the ToneX one costs, right? So that plus if you go ahead and buy like a few of my packs, you probably be at, you know, if you get this pack, I'm not sure what this pack gonna run. Let's say if it ran $20-$30, you still you still at like $210 versus $750 to just get that sound by itself. Now, you know, if you're going to be recording and stuff, and you can use this, you can also use this as a way of trying out different pedals and different bass amp head sounds, you know, because the preamp is what's really, the bass preamps are what's really going to shape your sound. You know, the preamp I have built into my bass, the preamps I'm running it through, and everything else. That's what really shapes your sound overall, especially when you're not running into an amp, you know, another actual speaker cabinet rather. You know, when you're running that sound direct, you know, it can, if you in the studio, I don't know that anybody on the record is going to be able to hear that difference. Let me see. I hope I turned it off. I think I left it on. Let me turn off this speaker cab. Versus That's my bass flat. JHS, ToneX. That is an excellent copy. Like, nobody's going to be able to hear the difference between that too much, like, to be honest with you. Like, now, is the original still better? Yeah. To me, you know, the original still has that. It's like a. The original still has just a little bit more weight to it, but I would say that the ToneX. No, that's the exact same thing. That's the exact same thing. And all I did there was adjust, you know, at first the analog was a little slightly louder. Then when you saw me make a few adjustments there, I made the ToneX a little louder, and then that made it have a little more body than the other sound. So it's just a volume thing right there. It's not really that is a spot on copy. Try to get them the same exact volume. That's sickening. That is sickeningly good. I don't know how they did that. Let me add some things. I'm gonna add some. See if they really got the same mid range. Here's my bass flat. Let me bring that value down. Also kind of want to hear what it sound like running through an actual amp. So I'm going to do that real quick. You guys won't get a perfect representation of it at the moment. Let me see how I can do. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Just gotta get a good mic cable here. Let's see. deal with all my mic cables. All right. So we're running to this Fender Bassman Pro, Bassman Neo 115 with a D6, Audix D6. All right. And this way, now we can hear it running through an actual cabinet, see if there's a difference there. Let's put this on 3. Select. Make sure we don't have nothing extra on it. All right. What's going on, Neil? I appreciate you stopping through, bro. I definitely appreciate that a lot. Neo came through with the super chat. Also the reason y'all got all that future impact stuff. So make sure y'all give him a shout out when you get a chance. And he also started the MXR Bass Synth Fund. I ain't forgot about you. It's just they sold out everywhere. So it's literally, I've been trying to, I'll do a review of that for y'all at some point, but I just got to get my hands on one. They sold out real quick. They did a great job marketing that pedal like it was the next coming, but, I'm sure it's a great pedal. I got to try it out. But, yeah, here's the setup. This is my bass, flat, running through it. Now we're going to add the Magellan and the color box. ToneX one. So I mean, both of them literally sound good. Like that's the also, you know, you also get, like I said, that one of the benefits of the ToneX one really is that you can just switch preamps. Like you don't even though I have that one up, I can still have all the variations and the different amps. By the way, I'm not on the actual cabinet itself. Yeah, the mark based stuff is super flat when you have it flat. So I could even run into the return or I can run straight into the preamp. Doesn't really color the sound any differently. So got options. So right there was just kind of mixing the actual cabinet sound with the DI out running because I still had the. I'm actually running all this into a canvas stereo at the end of my entire pedal board to run to get a nice signal back to the mixer, which gives you guys a nice sound. And I also use that to split the signal into either stereo into both of those amps behind me or just to one of them. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, AP. Yeah, I love this bass myself, man. It's my baby. This is unfortunately, this company doesn't exist anymore, but this actual bass is a artisan bass works 6-string Fidelity custom series. It's actually the only bass like this in the world at the moment. But hopefully, at some point, I'll have a chance to have a signature bass with another company as well. We don't really need that anymore. But oh yeah, it's no longer in production, and this is literally the only bass I actually play. I actually don't own another bass. I have a children's bass that I have for when I teach, but I actually only play one bass at a time because a lot of times guys ends up with 10 basses, and I have a signature sound I'm going for, and this bass creates that sound. It does make it a bit nerve-wracking, but it also makes me really take care of it, cherish it, develop a relationship with the actual instrument and the nuances of it versus when you have 10 basses, you just swapping out basses, and you might have favorite ones, but for me, I like to really get to know this particular instrument. Like, this is part of my brand, the sound, the look of it, the everything. So it allows people to get familiar with my sound as a bassist. Even though when I pick up other basses, I do sound similar, this one translates completely of how I want my stuff to sound. So from the way it feels to the, everything. So I think that's important when, to connect with your instrument. These days we have access to so many instruments and things. Back in the day you had one guitar, one trumpet, and you had to really play that. It wasn't about having 50 of each thing, but now things are so accessible. It's so many basses and everything else. I'm a big nature person as well. Every time, each one of these instruments is a few trees. This is a few trees right here. This is like 3 different types of wood on this bass. Not to mention, the craftsmanship it went into making this. It took them about a year, a year and a half, something to make this bass for me. Oh, okay. Yeah, man. I actually love banjo. I actually love other instruments a lot, like accordion. I like a lot of different instruments like that. Richard Galliano is one of my favorite accordion players. Amazing player. Toots Thousand, one of my favorite harmonica players. Of course, I love Bella Flack and Flecktones. I'm a bass player. Victor was in that. So Mojave New Orchestra. I love their stuff. Who else? And these groups you should definitely check out, like Symphony X. I like a lot of different stuff. So like Symphony X is a group that I like. Transatlantic is another group I really like in terms of rock groups. Those are some of my favorites. I really like groups that keep it musical. That it's a certain amount of tech. This is how I look at it. I don't like to listen to music that's technical just for the sake of being technical. I like to listen to music that may be technical because that's what the song requires, that's what the mood requires, but not because it's just difficult just to be difficult. I feel like, sometimes people get into writing things, whether it be classical, jazz, rock, fusion, or otherwise, it's just difficult just to say they're doing something difficult. Let's play it really fast and really, nobody even can connect with the music. Always remember that music is emotion. It's not, it's literally not just what you're playing and the tempo you're playing it at and playing the right rhythm. Music is emotion. So if you want to improve as a player, like the next 6 months, start understanding the emotions behind every tune that you're asked to play or every tune that you're playing currently. Start understanding when would this song be a good time for this song to play? Okay, this is not a party song. This is maybe this may be a sad song. This might be a song about somebody losing somebody. It's not a good time to play this at a party, or a festive event, and vice versa. You at a funeral, you don't want to break out with the electric slide unless that's somehow requested of you. But these different things are super important because when it comes to you, ain't a good place to learn this is go see maybe some musical theater at some point. That'll help you. Go to church. Church will definitely help you with. Church uses that method all the time. As a church musician, you definitely have to be in tune with the service and how it's flowing, and you have to actually not just be in tune, you actually have to guide the service. I don't know why a lot of church musicians want to sit around and do nothing. You got to guide the service. That's literally your job. So, different arenas are going to need you to be more emotional than others and understand the emotion behind music. If you want a film score, you need to know what's going on in the movie emotionally so you can then add that to, and all these different things. When you go through things in life, don't always be upset. Don't always be upset at your hard times. Your hard times in life are going to be some of your best growth. It's going to produce some of your best songs. Like I've been injured for the last few months. Of those that you've been following me, I haven't been doing as many lives because I haven't been able to. I've been able to use my left fingertips because they got a little bone contusion on one of my fingers. So it really kind of, even now I'm still recovering from it slightly. I understand rehab takes a bit, but I didn't sit around and just say, oh, I'm sad, I can't play my bass. I actually wrote a whole new album in that time frame, playing piano, improved my pianos, not even improved, dusted off a few of my piano skills, dusted off a few of my drum skills and just, buckled down and wrote some music. You don't let your hard times just be hard. They're there for a reason to help you grow. So don't ever let it just be a hard time or a rough time. Understand you're going through it so you can get to your next level. As a musician, it's very hard to grow without going through your rough times and living life. Your good times too. It's how you gonna write about love if you've never been in love? That's ridiculous. Yeah, you can write about it, but it's hard to make people feel it. You can't fake getting people to feel it. That's one of the biggest things. You can fake a lot of music, but when it's right in front of you and you got somebody that actually does know how to make that translate, it's a whole different ball game. Like you can see, like people will talk about certain performers, Michael Jackson. When you see the power of the emotions of things, like you really do have to go through your good and your bad times to get to your best songs, your best music, your best you. And there is no skipping that process. You could be a prodigy and all that good stuff, but there's a reason why prodigies don't sound like seasoned professionals. What's going on, brother? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all y'all hanging out with me. This is my birthday. Today is actually my birthday, so I'm just kind of kicking it at this point. We kind of went through the comparisons of the two, but yes, if you're wondering, the ToneX one definitely holds up. in all aspects to other to the clone, to the things that's cloning or modeling, as they call it. But you know, compositions, music, your skills, all that comes from living life. You know, get outside, go for a hike, man. Get out in nature, go camping, go see some folks that you ain't seen in a while. You'd be surprised you missing out on life. You know what I'm saying? And expecting your music to grow. In reality, life and your music go hand in hand. They're not two separate things. You know, you don't have a whole writing team and all this other stuff to pull from all these other people's emotions, and most times we writing by ourselves. So when you're doing these things, keep that in mind. You know, try to refrain from adding unnecessarily difficult things just to say it's difficult in the music. You know, try to be honest with the music and almost in your mind stick to your original idea. You know, I try to, when I write a tune, because it's so many ways you can play one thing, I try to really keep that original thing in mind. I can give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let me see what I got. So this was the original idea for this particular tune. This is why I love loopers, because I could just loop it, right? So as I'm adding layers, as I start to add the different layers to the song, it's like I try to keep the original part somewhere, or the original idea somewhere around, hanging around, where it doesn't just get lost. And, you know, because once I start to add 1,000,001 layers, excuse me, once I start to add 1,000,001 layers, the original idea can easily get lost in there. So I try to always, when I'm doing the looping, I always try to save that initial loop, because that for me is like the original sound, the original idea that sparked everything else that's about to happen. And I like to, it's like having a notepad, you know, for your compositions. So I would say invest in a looper or get you something like that. Yeah, and in terms of technique, like my left hand, I really don't move too much. I just make sure I'm following through, and I do use floating thumb technique. And then this is just down, up, pluck, down, up, pluck, pluck. So, you know, it's just a lot of my techniques is really that following through. Even when I'm plucking, I pluck through to that next string. six string. No, I mean, I play upright? No. Have I played one? Yes. Can I maneuver around one? Yeah. But I don't particularly care for upright playing it myself. I don't like an instrument that fights me that much. Now I've never an upright fights you more than electric does. Electric just lets you play, and I can get all my ideas out, and it's just a whole different thing. Upright bass is more in the violin family. This is in the guitar family. So just like the same way a tuba serves the same purpose as these instruments. I actually used to march sousaphone in high school in tuba. I used to march saxophone and trombone as well. So I actually learned 11 instruments before I graduated high school, and that's a whole different reason. It's a whole different story for another time. But yeah, I did that. That started off because people pretty much wouldn't let me play in church, and then so I found a way. I started learning all these instruments. You're gonna let me play one way or another. Also, yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna do for today, for real, for real. I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me on my birthday. If you want to bless a brother for his birthday, Cash App, Super Chat, Cash App preferably, Super Chat. Y'all know what it is with that, but the Cash App definitely works out a little better for me. If you want to check out any of my music, all bass creations, that Bandcamp. If you want any of these presets from these different pedals, from the Zoom MS-60B plus, Zoom MS-70CDR plus, Zoom B6, the Enzo X, any 11 different preamp packs plus my personal pack on here, ToneX 1, and the Future Impact and C4 Synth. All have packs on the Patreon, so make sure you check all that stuff out. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, AP, for the sub, man, and thank you for the compliment as well. It's been a lot of hard work. I've been playing a lot of years. I'm turning 36 today, and I've been playing since I was 4, music in general. And bass actually was the 11th instrument I learned. So bass was the last instrument I learned. It ended up being my primary instrument. Once I picked up a bass, I said, oh, this is where I was supposed to be. But it was good to learn all the other stuff because it helped me learn music as a whole and not just from a bassist perspective. So that's why a lot of people more so, consider me not just a bassist, but more so of just a musician in general. Because you can tell I like to play all the different parts. I love playing bass parts the most. If I only got one part to play, I'm going to play the bass line, that's for sure. But, I do love the solo, play chords, and just do my tapping thing where I'm doing like stride piano type stuff on bass, So it all helps, but, it's the most important thing is that everybody puts in their work to get what they want out of it, I've been doing this for a long time. It ain't always been easy, and I've been told a lot that wasn't so good. I've been chewed up and spit out a whole bunch of times on stage and embarrassed and everything else, So, I say all that to say keep going. No matter what stage you at, no matter what's going on, you got to stay the course. You'll never be great stopping, and letting everything deter you from being where you want to go. That would be, that's counterproductive. You guys, I think everybody has a certain amount of greatness within them, and it's up to you to achieve it. So, all right. I'm going to thank you guys for hanging out with me on my birthday again. Make sure you handle that Patreon, check all that stuff out. And if you just want to support the channel long term, sign up on the Patreon. Other than that, I'll catch you guys next time. This has been another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. I am the Bass Negus, Negus. Find me on all social media at the Bass Negus. And make sure you check out that music on allbasscreations.bandcamp. All right, catch you guys.